In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, and Amen we trust as the Republic of Intellect, the real 144,000 is being gathered in this day and time, the mentalists. And Zakami Noon to all of my mentalist brothers and sisters out here, registered members of the Republic of Intellect, and to all future mentalists who have yet to find their way home to the Republic of Intellect, which is Amen's community. I send greetings out to you, and I send peace out to you in our Amenic language by saying to you, Zakami Noon. Good evening, I'm your host, the intellectual leader, MENKARAYZZ. This is Mentelly Radio, and tonight we're going to discuss what happens when mentally powerful men and women connect. What happens when mentally powerful men and mentally powerful women connect? You get an advanced and a greater society of both men and women who are going to be the offspring of that powerful connection. You get leaders. You get professional people, people of tomorrow, cooperative people, people who are focused, who are steady in their mind frame. If you don't have that as the ingredient from which you start to create or make or procreate or produce offspring, if you don't have the ingredient of a powerful man and a powerful woman, meaning those who are focused, and both who know their place in the world and what their place is in alignment to one another, then what you do not have or what you will produce are children who are off mentally, who are going to have a lot of problems in the world with social identity, sometimes even sexual identity. All kinds of things are produced when there isn't a strong and definitive man and woman in a connection and a relationship to produce strong children. It also works against the man and it works against the woman. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have a man, a strong man, who wants to strike out on his own and be something more than just, a worker. He may want to do more than just be an employee. He may want to be an employer, right? And he might have all the good plans in the world to do that and strike out on that. But he has a partner who, he's strong and he's very strong in his desire to get this firm going, right? Very focused. And what can help him or hurt him is the woman who is by his side. If the woman who is by his side is strong and supportive in partnership with this man and what he's building, then he will accomplish what he's doing 9 times out of 10, because it takes a woman who's understanding. It takes a woman who is focused and wants the same things that you want, who also is working in alignment with what you want, partners, right? You are destined to win when there is a partnership and both of you are strong and you are focused and working toward that. However, if you got somebody who's weak, if you have someone who's weak, if you have someone who's scared, that saying goes, scared money don't make no money. If they're weak, they scared, or they just have a subservient mindset. They don't have a ruling class mentality. They have a servant mindset, right? Then nothing you do is going to work because they're always going to work against you. When you have a weak person, a person who's mentally weak as your partner, and you are trying to constantly assert your strength, after a while, one or two things is going to happen. Either you're going to mentally break from trying to push this person, or they're going to become stronger. You're going to make them stronger, but even with that, they have to have that innately in them. A lot of people just don't have it. A lot of people don't want to face that. Mediocrity, I put this on my page, mediocrity has become, the general, and I'm not even with black people, below mediocrity now has become what is expected within the so-called black race. Not even mediocre is, enough. Or, not even mediocre, they don't want below mediocrity, so they don't hit the bottom. And why is that? Because usually the type of people who are following these standards are being led by people who are setting those low standards for them to follow. right? Baby mamas, no good daddies, right? Irresponsible people, emotional people, people who don't see the bigger picture. Weak-minded people, people who run from responsibility, people who don't want to take care of their children, people who want to lose themselves in drugs and crime or whatever the hell they want to lose themselves in their fantasy world, in the club, right? And entertainment. These are the people who are weak-minded. These are the weak-minded. The weak-minded is the ones who walk around here with the weaves and the wigs on, twerking their ass. You know, can't stay off of hopping off of one man penis to the next. You know, popping up with babies every damn where, and letting these Negroes run around like a bunch of bed bucks on the loose, just popping babies in here and there, just running away from their responsibility or not being in their child life. See, that is the act of weak men and weak women. Those are not real men and real women. Those are males and females. And unfortunately, the so-called black race is being defined by weak males and females. The so-called black race, especially this generation here, is nothing but a generation of weak males and females, mentally weak. So what are they going to produce? They're going to produce something even more weaker as time goes on. Right? It ain't long before they producing full-on homosexual societies, and you're seeing that already. The young guys are straight up, they 12, 13 years old, they homosexuals. The girls, 12, 11, 12 years old, they kissing on other girls. This is what happens. You know, this type of degeneracy happens when you have weak-minded males and females in charge, right? Who open to these type of things, who don't stand against these type of things, who choose partners who are open to these type of things. It's a liberated mindset. You see, this is what happens when a woman is under the illusion that she's really independent and that she is strong without the assistance of men. I'm not even going to go into that tonight about is there really such a thing as an independent woman, because that's an illusion. There's no such thing as an independent woman, and I'll prove that tomorrow. I'm not even going to go into that tonight. And it's not a thing to bash the woman. It's not. A woman can be powerful in her role as a woman, just like if a man get out of his role as a man, he's no longer powerful. If he's not standing up as the leader of the family, the trailblazer, the protector of the family, if he's not standing up as that and giving his woman direction, giving his children direction, and having them all function in their roles and their positions in the family, then guess what? He's weak. He's weak. If she's not keeping the order in the house, keeping the order in the business, making sure things is together and whatnot so that things run smoothly, because I said the woman's power is to make sure things run smoothly. She is the oil. She is the oil in the machine. The woman's power is that she is the oil in the machine, in the family structure, in the business structure, and the law and enforcement. She is the oil. She is the one that keeps the machine going. The man is the one who builds the machine. She keeps it going. He builds it, and he makes sure that he feeds the machine. When he goes out here, let's say he's a law, and he punishes, right? He keeps things in check. He protects, and when even in law enforcement and things like that, that's why I said the police officer job is not for women. That's for men. The women process men and keep the system running. That's how it's supposed to go, the systematic stuff. That's power within itself. But see, unfortunately, women don't see it that way, you see. And especially the so-called black woman, she thinks she's independently powerful without the man. See, other races of women don't do that. They don't do that. They only push the black woman up to do that. Push that whole idea, I don't need no man. All right, I don't need no man. They push them up, like I said, when you do that, when you start to believe that, you start to disrespect men, even powerful men who you might come across. You start to have a disdain for them, because it is taught in your head that in order for you to be a strong woman, you have to challenge a man, or you have to act like you're independent, like you're doing it all by yourself, and that's a goddamn lie. Nobody does nothing by themselves, not even the man. The man can't function without the woman. The woman can't function without the man. Get that through your goddamn heads. That is where the strength and the power is at. We function together. Because if there's no function together, if y'all women got this idea in your head of some individuality, then we don't need you. See, you become the black woman that's cast to the side that ends up, laying with the beast, or you end up being with the settlements. You don't end up in unions of power. See, because with the so-called black woman, when she's in the time where she is at a powerful stage in her life, when she comes into her early 20s and mid 20s, when she isn't coming into a state of power, she don't realize that this is the time. And I said this before. This is usually the time young women are trying to find men to be with. Right, their bodies start to get ready to bear children, because this is the time when their body's at its strongest in their 20s and things like that. And they, like that. It's the time when they're in their strongest. But the feminists tell you to fight against wanting to be mothers, wanting to be partners or companions with men, building up the family, things like that. They tell you to stand against that as so-called black women, to stand on your own as independent women. That's what they tell you. And you fall for this all the way up into your 40s. Right? When you don't push men away, or you dealt with men as walking vibrators, where you just use men for boyfriends and for sex, and all he did was come in and screw, and y'all had some little shallow relationship or whatever, and y'all called it a relationship, but it really wasn't. It was a so-called relationship or connection based on weakness, with no definitive points, no real rhyme or reason, just two people getting together, eating and screwing. That's it. That's what a lot of these relationships, especially these so-called black relationships, are built based on. The liberated black female who thinks that men are interchangeable because she doesn't really know the power of a man. And when a woman doesn't understand the power of a man, she doesn't understand the power of herself, because power recognizes power. And if she don't recognize power in a man, if she thinks all men are supposed to be passive, aggressive, and, what's that... beta male-ish, and basically she could do whatever she wants, and the man ain't really telling her nothing, then that's and she like males like that, then she's not a powerful woman. She's not a powerful woman. She's weak. A lot of these so-called black females, they into that sort of thing. That's the new thing with a lot of these young black females. They like these young guys they started like a lot of these young guys who are bisexual. These guys who like other guys, they starting to like dudes who go both ways, because they feel like they open. And when you get men open on that level sexually like that to, be submissive to that degeneracy, then all you're doing is courting his weakness. And when you court the weakness of a man, you bring out the weakness in yourself, because iron sharpens iron. If you truly are a strong woman, then that means you want a strong man. You see? That's what it's supposed to be. It ain't, I'm a strong woman, but I want to be by myself. There's no such thing as by yourself, because at some point you're going to be wanting to be with somebody, and you will take a lot of these males who are weak, who have no direction, who have no real vision. And if they do have direction and vision, it's very weak. It's really not about nothing on no real level, nothing on no real intellectual level, nothing on no life-changing level. So you have to be mindful of that. You have to be mindful of that you must have the strongest man to breed with, to, coexist with, or live with, I should say, because iron sharpens iron. If you have somebody that's mentally strong, they're going to keep you mentally strong. If you got somebody that work out every day, or eat right and whatnot, the last thing you want is some person that's living with you that's all fat and out of shape and just eating garbage and bringing garbage in your damn house. You don't want nobody like that. You want somebody who care about how they look, care about their appearance, will keep their weight down, eat the right diet, because it inspires you to do the same thing. Iron sharp as iron. You don't want nobody weak with you. See, when you see a fat dude, a fat out of shape dude, his woman is usually fat and out of shape, because that is the weakness of two males, and a male and a female, I should say. That represents their weakness. Because if you can't control what you put in your damn mouth, then you can't control what comes out of your mouth. If you can't control what you put in your mouth, you can't control what's coming out of your mouth. You see? So, again, iron sharpens iron, right? You want a powerful person to sharpen you, to inspire you, to make you go, even further. That's what you want. You don't want somebody who's opposite you. You don't want nobody that's opposite you. I heard this nonsense where they said, oh, strong men like submissive women, weak women. No, not real strong men. Strong men like women that are going to tell them what it is, what's good, for their own good, with respect, though. Stand up, and they're going to stand up. Because, again, a man wants a strong woman because he knows that he needs that strong woman to raise or help him to raise strong children. Because if he has a weak woman in the house, he's trying to be strong for his children. He got a weak woman in his house that he's going to find somebody that's working against him. When he's trying to set a law in the house for the children and what they don't do, she's going to constantly break the law. She's not going to follow the law. She's not going to set the order for the law that was put out by the men. She's not going to stand on it. So then the children become confused, and then they start thinking, oh, I could pit mommy against daddy. And that's what ends up happening in business. When you see a lot of these so-called business women out here and whatnot, and, they're powerful business women, it's usually because they got a hand up somewhere from a powerful man. I don't care who it is. Whether it was somebody at the bank, whether it was somebody, they got a hand up from a powerful man or a man with influence. See, power cannot thrive without power. Power has to thrive with power. You see, there's no such thing as individual power. Power has to thrive, just like mold and fungus have to grow amongst other mold and fungus and whatnot, and it has to start to, I'm giving just giving this as a example, but it has to grow and fester, and more has to grow. So in other words, if you're trying to grow a powerful connection with somebody, that person in the connection has to be just as powerful or on the level of power, coming at least working toward that level of power with you. They have to be there. You can't have somebody who's weak. You can't have somebody who's emotional. You see, and that has been the divide with a lot of men and women, because you got men who start off strong and logical, and then they allow women who have been made emotional, because I said this before and I said it again, women have been made weak in this society. Women have been made weak. Women have been made mentally weak in the society, and it's being passed off as strong. Women have been made weak by this liberated mindset that they push on the so-called black women. They've been made weak, and that liberated mindset is still on the black woman. What is the weakness and the liberated mindset that they push on the black woman? Oh, it's okay to go out here and just sleep with this one and that one. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You taking back control of your sexual, your sexual powers and this, that, and the third. That's nothing but that Aleister Crowley sex magic talk. That's all Aleister Crowley sex magic. And a lot of you nigga women, y'all into talking that sex magic crap now. You see, y'all into talking that. A lot of y'all think that y'all got power in y'all vagina. You see, a lot of y'all really believe that. And, again, where y'all learned that from? You learned that from the damn white woman. That you women somehow can withhold sex and that you got power in your vagina. See, what you just didn't see was while the women were telling you the power in your vagina and you a woman and I am woman, hear me. By her telling you that, you don't see that she just objectified you to men, because she reduced you to your vaginal area. She ain't saying, oh, you a smart woman, this, that, and the third. That's not what the liberated woman pushes. She pushes sexuality and herself as an object, as power. That's what they really push. Everything is always some sex magic and how you can get a man to do this and, withhold vagina and he'll give you money and all this other stuff like that. And I'm like, that's not power. That's not power. That's pandering. That's whoring yourself out. And they tell you that there's power in pandering and whoring yourself out. You see? That's all that is. And a lot of weak beta males, they cater to that. You see? A lot of weak beta males cater to that. That's why a lot of you black males, y'all just talk out of your head and say all kind of emotional, stupid stuff. Because, again, a lot of you were raised by emotional females who were weak-minded. And that weak-mindedness comes off in a lot of you black males today. And it is the fault of you black males who impregnated these mentally weak black males who impregnated these mentally weak black females, and you produce mentally weak offspring. You produce mentally weak offspring who are bugged out of their mind, shot out on drugs, walking around with no direction in life, don't know what they want to do. They just, wherever the day take you, no direction, no nothing. Nothing. And then they produce children like this, and on and on and on. And then when you're trying to get the train back on the track, you trying to, reestablish law and order, you going to have the so-called black female in her state of weak-mindedness fight you. She's going to try and fight you because she does not know what it is to be in order, to have to be responsible for order. So therefore, she will never know what power is. Because if she don't have order in her life, order in her family's life, order in her structure, like I said, and real order in the mind of the woman is when she accepts her place. Real power comes to the woman when she accepts her place. Not this phony nonsense where you so-called black women sitting up here and saying, yeah, well, I got to get myself together, get my head together, I got to get my this, that, and third. You ain't going to never get it together. You're never going to get it together. See, because you think you got multiple choices on how to get it together. There's only one answer to how to get it together, and that is to get in your goddamn role. Get in your role as a mother, as a wife, as a business partner, you see, and that's when you will accept. When you accept your place in the family structure, because you all do want families at some point, a lot of you do, but now they got the so-called black woman, they got her, saying, I'll just get pregnant and I'll be a baby mama. Because that's being programmed in the so-called black woman head, that she's not supposed to have a counterpart. She's not supposed to have a counterpart. She's not supposed to have a powerful counterpart, that she can do it all on her own. And if you need some assistance, the white man will help you with a stimulus check or some welfare for however long that lasts. That's really what the message is. Anything to get the black man, the so-called black man out the house from influencing the children, being a powerful influence in children's lives. Because I said this before and I said it again. As much as I used to be mad at my father, much as I used to be pissed off at him, as strict as he was, and much as I used to, at times even think I hated my father, more and more I love my father today. Because, like I said this before, I said, if he wasn't around, we would have been messed up. And I love my mother, but she couldn't have did it by herself. I love my mother, but she couldn't have did it by herself. And she's a strong woman, but she could not have did it by herself. She couldn't have. And most of these women hate to admit that they can't do it by themselves. So they latch on to a bunch of different males and things like that, and thinking that, and they looking for manhood, and but they latching on for the wrong reason. A lot of times they latching on to men because they just looking for damn sex partners, and the hell with who they bringing around their children. They just looking for damn sex partners. You see. They just looking for sex partners. They ain't thinking about when they laying down with men. They not thinking about, this could be the father of my child. That's how they should be seeing it. They don't think that way. They just thinking about an orgasm. That's all they thinking about. That represents weakness. All that boyfriend BS, that's weakness, man. Ain't no goddamn boyfriends. Ain't no goddamn girlfriends. That's high school stuff. And it ain't supposed to go nowhere in high school. That's being friends. But when you seriously give yourself to somebody, your body to somebody, to have children with somebody, that's supposed to be somebody that you're making a powerful connection with. Somebody you're going to have children with. Somebody you're going to live a life with. Somebody that you know is going to power you just as much as you're going to power them. Somebody that you know you're going to have eventful times and you're going to live a life together. That's who you give yourself to. That's a powerful connection. Not some goddamn, he cute. Yeah, he cute. Yeah, I think he cute. Yeah, he look good. He got this kind of hair. He light skinned. All that BS, man. Or she got a fat behind. All that nonsense, man. That's how y'all. That's not breeding in power, man. That's breeding in weakness. That's breeding in weakness. Or how much money he got. How much money, how much he worth. Yeah, okay. I saw the most disgusting thing I thought I could ever see from the so-called black woman. And, I'm getting on the so-called black woman. Not just like the so-called black man equally. Because like I said, I use us as foundation because, again, we are the foundation of everything. So until we get ourselves right mentally, ain't nothing going to be right around us. So I'm watching this thing about this black female. She's sitting on she's sitting on somebody's show interviewing, and she's basically talking about how, you know, she's all about that coin. She wants that money. I'm all about the coin. And that's what she said. I give me my coins. And she's watching, and she's twerking her ass out in the street, her breasts out in the street, and she basically sell herself online and sell peep shows of herself because she's calling it something, but it's basically a peep show where guys pay to see her do all kind of stuff, sexual stuff to herself. And I'm like, but then she's talking about how she's trying to get pregnant and be somebody's mother, and then she said if she's trying to get pregnant from some guy with money. What kind of mother would she be? See, this is the mentality right there. What kind of child is she going to raise? You see? I applauded her for being an honest hoe. Because that's all she was a hoe. She all that trying to talk upper class. You got to bring me at least $5,000, and I'm sipping on this, and I'm drinking this, and I'm getting this money. Look, you a hoe. You just ain't working the block. This is what these women's lib groups teach you so-called black women to be, a bunch of whores and sluts. They tell you that there's power in being a whore and a slut and being a bed wench for white men and everything else. They teach you that. Or using your sexuality. That's no power in that. There's no power in that. The power is in your focus and your ability to see a long-lasting life, an extended life for yourself, and work on that path and work toward that and work in alignment with that and never stray from that. Like I said, the woman or the man who masters something in life. Like I said, if there's a young woman who said, I'm going to go and be a doctor, like I said the other day, and she doesn't focus on anything else, even if she gets with a man, she going to get with a man who's a doctor, right? Because she figured, I'm going to get with a man who's a doctor, so, he can help me out in what I'm doing. He can sharpen me in what I'm trying to get. She'll get with another doctor because she's trying to accomplish something. See, that's power. That's the type of power. She's going to become a doctor, and she's going to be married to a doctor. She's going to have children with a doctor. That's strong. She's going to find a strong man, a man of her own race, her own kind, not some other race of man, a man of her own race, of her own kind, and she's going to be with him, and they're going to produce their children, and they're going to raise the mindset of their children. That's what strong women do. They accept their place in life. And they walk that path in their life, and they get things accomplished. But these lost black females out here, who wherever the day take them, where they going, they just like, I'll figure out things as life goes on. I'll just figure things out, and I'll just discover things. That's weakness. That's a bunch of weakness. And too many young black boys and girls are being raised with that mentality. I'll just figure it out as I go along. I'm young, and I'll just figure it out as I go along. Nah. You're supposed to have it figured out at a certain age, and that's a young age. You're supposed to have it figured out before you enter your 20s, what you want to do, what you want to proceed and going in your life. That's what ain't all that, I'll figure it out as time goes on. I'll figure it out in my 20s, my 30s, or whatever. I got time. No, you don't got time. See, a person who is a person of real power knows time is not on your side until you bring it onto your side. And the only way you bring time onto your side and make time work for you is when you are laying time out in a straight line and walking that path. That's when time becomes powerful towards you, when you can utilize time. But as long as you're wrapped up in time and you're just waiting to see what circumstance befalls you, who you end up meeting, what can I get into, what will I come across today? I'm just in the world, and wherever the day takes me, and I'm just free. I'm just a free spirit and all that BS. That's weakness, man. While you black females are out in the world being free spirits and being free with your vaginas and being liberated and liberal and thinking that's power, the white woman is excelling past you. She's going and becoming the lawyers and the doctors and all that and making sure she get with her white man, her husband, and they are having their children, having their family, and this is power. That's power. That's how you become who you came to be, live to be who you come to be in the society. your natural talent, and you are fostering a family. That's the definition of a woman who has it all, has it together. A man who has it all. What did Bill Cosby show you in the Cosby Show? We looked up to Claire Huxtable, the mother on the Cosby Show. She was a lawyer. She was a lawyer, and she was married to a blonde man, a man of her own race, and they had lovely children, and he was a professional. She got with a professional because iron sharpens iron. He was a doctor, she was a lawyer. They showed you that. They didn't show, that she was just some housewife. Not that there's anything wrong with being a housewife, but they showed, okay, she's doing something, because that's what she chose to do, be a professional, right? They showed that. Because at the beginning of the Cosby Show, in the first episode, there was only 4 children, and Felicia Rashad wasn't a lawyer. She was more like a housewife. But then later on in the pod, they changed her to a lawyer to show that professional black family. You see, there's nothing wrong with that. But she was presented as a woman who had it all, a woman of power, and whenever she spoke, and when you hear her speak, you hear that strength in her voice, because that is a woman who's walked the path and lived the path. She didn't come off as a woman who is confused. You see, in this society, within this generation, they push confusion on young black women. They push confusion. You see, they push confusion as an excuse for being powerless in the world. Oh, you're supposed to be learning. No. If at any time, young black women and young so-called black men and young so-called black women should be getting themselves together mentally. But see, mentally to them, it's still too far away, because their mindset is still on playing games, man, because they wasn't raised by people who are mentally responsible, people who are mentally strong. They were raised by mentally weak people. If you see a child who's a knucklehead in the damn street doing whatever, you grab their ass up and take them home to their family. You're going to see chaos and confusion in their home. You're not going to see, 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to see a father and a mother there who are stern and, no, you ain't going to see that. You're going to probably see a mother that's there by herself struggling to take care of them, because she got 4 more of them from God knows who else, and, she's just struggling. She don't know what the hell to do. You see? You're not going to go home and see her open the door. It's going to be a strong father standing there, because that young man, that young woman is going to know how to conduct themselves, or else. You see? That's the type of strong I'm talking about. See, the beast don't really want that. Remember that show, Julia? I told you about that show, Julia. The first time they was able to put a so-called black woman on TV, they made sure she did not have a husband. The first time, this is when they start promoting. The reason why they did that was to promote that liberated black mindset in the black woman. Here it is. She's a nurse, she's attractive, and she has a son, right? And she's raising a black boy. Not a black girl, but a black boy, right? So how's she going to raise him? How's she going to raise him? You see, they did that purposely. Because why couldn't she have had a daughter? No, she had a son. And how would she have raised her son? The best she could, yeah. But being a woman who is not balanced and anchored by a man, all she can do is raise a boy from a feminine energy or feminine nature. That's all she could do. When she's not balanced and anchored by a man, then there's no balance there. She can't be in her role. So she becomes weak, because she's trying to do both roles. And it's not meant for her to do both roles. See, people don't want to play their roles. People, that's the thing the white man get a lot of you so-called black women. Why we got to be labeled? Why we got to wear roles in life? Why does it got to be labeled? See, all that's that Luciferian bullshit. Raw and uncut. That's all that Luciferian bullshit. Oh, we don't have no roles in life. We just are what we are. We come in. No. You have a role in life. That's what you're here for. And when you don't know what your role is in life, you're just wandering around. And that's what the beast wants. He wants you, a bunch of black people, simple-minded niggas just wandering around the earth, not knowing where the hell they supposed to be or what they doing. That's what he wants. That's why he pushes that to your black liberated female. Oh, you don't need no man. Oh, you use an independent woman. You don't need no man. You don't need no man to just get your coin. Just get your coin. Or just you an independent woman. You don't need you an independent woman. Ain't no such thing. That's an illusion within the third dimension that's controlled by the beast. That's an illusion. There's no such thing as an independent woman. That's like saying there's an independent child. Children are not independent. They have to be raised up to be that way. So if the woman is not raised up to be independent in her way of thinking, because the first thing she looks for is supposed to be an independent man. That's the first thing she looks for. But how is that working out for a lot of these black females? Because they get with a bunch of mama's boys, niggas who come out their mama house, don't know how to take care of them, don't know how to take care of nothing. And she bugged out of her mind. She got all kinds of mental things going on in her head. She walking around with a damn red and blue and orange wig on her damn head, looking like Bozo the Clown. This is what's giving birth. This is what the mothers and the fathers of the next generation look like. They all screwed up. They all screwed up. You see, this is not power. This is not power. Power came with the ability to raise strong children. When you seen strong children who accomplished something, when you seen strong women who accomplished something, that was because there was a strong family unit there. When you see a daughter, and that's what Bill Cosby was trying to show you. He said, when you saw the son going to school to be a lawyer, or the daughter wanting to be a doctor, or whatever the case may be, or whatever they wanted when they was going to school, that was due to the fact that there was a strong mother and a strong father in the house. Because Bill Cosby, he came on, even though he fell back a little bit on the Cosby Show, he came off as a strong father. You see, he wasn't like like James Evans on the damn Good Times, but he came off as a strong father. You see, he didn't play. He came off as a strong father. And he was showing you in there that that's what it takes to produce strong children, mentally strong children who know their place in the world because they grew up watching a father. They grew up watching a mother who played their roles. You see, that's what they grew up seeing. And that's what they grew up looking for. Because you notice on the Cosby Show, they didn't show, Cosby didn't have his daughters going out with white boys and other races of boys or going out with girls or all kind of weirdo shit. They didn't have that. Because he knows he come from a time where back in the 40s, 50s, and even in the 60s going back, black people didn't play that. Black families didn't play that. The father and the mother didn't play that. They wouldn't have all that race mixing and all that because they understood. They wasn't with that, my daughter's going to be out here slaying up and who got a bunch of boyfriends and nah. See, the so-called black family was together, more together back then than now. See, this is because society has produced weak men and weak women, or weak males and weak females. That's what society has produced in so-called black people. And I say black people, and I point to black people because black people are a special case. They are a special case because whatever else, how they try to feminize society and make society weak in this world, however else they try to feminize society, one of the things that they extra hard on pushing is the effeminization of young black boys. They push hard on that. That's a mental thing. And while they're working on the young black boys, they also working on the black girls, where they call themselves trying to empower. They call themselves trying to empower young black girls. They're really weakening black boys at the same time. While they're trying to empower black girls, they're trying to weaken black boys at the same time, simultaneously. You see? And people don't see that. You're not paying attention because people are distracted. They are distracted with these illusions in the world of the beast. They are distracted. A lot of distraction. A lot of party and bullshit. A lot of foolishness. a lot of stupidity. Yeah, that's you know, a lot of YouTube antics, a lot of stupid idiot boxing dumb movies. You see, that's what that is. And you know, you're gonna have people they're not even gonna be able to hear the words I'm saying. That's the sad thing about it. Nor will it resonate with them because they just part of the foolish set of people. They're part of that foolish set. And sometimes those people got to be sacrificed in the world in order for the greater ones of our people to wake up, in order for greater men and greater women to come up, powerful men and powerful women to come up in the world. The fools got to be sacrificed. They got to be sacrificed from amongst us all day because, see, the fool culture is what rules. The fool culture, the weak culture is what rules. And that was put in place by the so-called white man. No, it is not natural for a woman to go out here and seek power in other men. It's not natural for the so-called black woman to go out here and seek power in other men or companionship in other men. That's weakness. Because by you doing that, you saying that your race of men are weak. You don't find any real power in your race of men. That's why you do that. And that means you really find no power in yourself because your men are what you are. You are from the same cloth. You see? Y'all don't get that. Let me take a call. 832, you're on the air.
Yeah, so just hitting on what you're saying, something I've noticed watching like the younger couples, you know, in their 20s and stuff like that. I look at the women of the females, and it looks like they're always the ones out in front, and the guys. Sometimes I'm confused is this their homeboy? Is this their friend? Is this they look like just glorified homeboys, and you find out, oh, that's my boyfriend or that's my husband, but they look like little brothers or something to them. That's the energy that they carry. It's pretty strange.
Yeah. I told somebody this a long time ago. I said, you know, how you see young black men and black women together today, they don't look like they companions. They look like they homeboys and homegirl, brother and sister. They don't have that strong energy coming off of them. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, exactly. It's confusing. I'm like, a lot of times I'm like, is that guy gay? Or it's just confusing. You don't know what to think.
Well, you know, these guys might not just be gay. It just might be that these guys are just you know, they've been effeminate. This generation of young black males is effeminate as hell. They've been made effeminate because they've been raised by women, not by men. Because these women who raised them, they thought that they was powerful. I'm independent. I don't need no man and whatnot. I'm powerful on my own and whatnot. And if they came across somebody who was powerful, they made sure they ran that person away or they pushed them out in some kind of way, shape, or form because they saw that as competition because so-called black woman has been taught to view a strong man as competition. A strong so-called black man is competition rather than a companion. In other words, he's her competition, not her companion. That's why you notice you'll see a lot of these dark-skinned black females with the white man. See, because a lot of these so-called dark-skinned black females, they bed wenches, yeah, but most of them they have that whole, in other words, those so-called black men you see like that, the dark-skinned ones with the white man, a lot of them are liberated. They liberated black females. They the ones, you ain't my brother. They the ones that talk smack to the so-called black men. They have no respect for black manhood or so-called black manhood, but they'll go get with the white man because they figure that, I told you, they both have that in common where they both hate a strong so-called black man. Mentally strong, masculine, they don't like that. So a lot of these so-called black females who's falling for that, I'm a liberated, strong black woman. I don't need no black man. Or when she says she don't need no man, she really means no black man because she gonna get a man. So she just means a man of another race. That's what that means because that's about bucking the law and the order and the system that she's supposed to be in and supposed to be following. You see?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're taught to buck that by this white liberal society or this so-called liberated society, which ain't nothing but a bunch of goddamn Satanism and Luciferianism. That's all it is, to go against the natural order. That's all.
Absolutely.
They make that attractive to the so-called black woman, and she eats it up. I'm sorry, brother. What was you gonna say?
No, that was it. It's just interesting that that is happening. And yeah, I do see that as well with they get with the people and they all hate, the common thing they have is that they hate the manliness of a black man that has manliness. And it's getting to the point where you can feel it off of them without even really talking to them. It's just by the way they look at you, or just the energy that they have. It's getting to the point where it's just so obvious that, but that's a good thing. You know who to stay away from.
Yeah, because they liberated. A lot of you, listen, the black female today is a liberated Satanist. The mass majority, and they don't even know it, the mass majority of black females are liberated Satanists. They into witchcraft, all that whole talk about the liberated, independent black woman, that's nothing but Luciferianism and Satanism, and it's being programmed in the black woman. It's a special form of programming on the so-called black woman. That's why she do that. 50 years ago, you would have never heard a black woman talking like, so-called black woman talking like that. In the 40s, the 50s, they wasn't talking like that. They wasn't talking like that. There was no such thing as, they knew that their strength came in making sure they had a strong man by their side. That's where their strength came from. That's the strength to raise strong families, and they realized that. But it wasn't until after the 60s and going into the 70s, after the Black Panthers, and they took them black females, that's when they and they got Gloria Steinem, and they start pushing that feminism bullshit. That's when they started that. That Luciferian shit. Raw and uncut.
Yeah. That's fine.
All right, brother. Thank you for calling in.
All right.
All right. We're going to play a little bit of music. We'll be right back. Mind Power. I spent the time explaining the weakness of relationships. You have to explain the weak before the strong is happening. See, because this society is raised in weakness. The men and the women are raised to be weak, especially the so-called black man and black woman. So you have to speak about the weakness in order for you to grow from it. Now, I gave you an example of a strong family, strong men and strong women raising each other in the iron and sharpening of iron, sharpening the iron. And also a mental extension takes place, right? When a man and a woman are advancing mentally, when they are locking mentally together, they are exceeding all levels as if they were individuals. They start to exceed levels as individuals. When you are locked together in a union mentally, and you both are ascending mentally, you start to go for or move through certain things that may have stumped you as an individual. In other words, let's say I'm in a connection with somebody who is just as strong or growing stronger than me. That is a person who I can rely on, and that person can rely on me. And what would have seemed a struggle to an individual is now not a problem, because now your mind power is being extended when you are mentally in a connection with someone who's powerful. Your mental resources start to extend. I was explaining this to somebody before. I said when a woman has a strong man mentally, she becomes strong just by default because she's going to pick up the strength of a man mentally. She's going to pick up the mental strength of a man, right? She'll pick up and get that, and it transfers in her so that she knows how to be stern and logical and unemotional when it comes to dealing with children, because children, if you let them, they will manipulate or look to manipulate the weak parts of of a person. It's usually the mother they try to manipulate against the father. So when the mother takes in that energy from the man, is converted into making her a stronger woman mentally. I guarantee if you see a strong woman, right, a woman who's mentally strong, 9 times, and on a level of beyond just that feminine emotional, you'll see that 9 times out of 10 she was raised by a strong man, meaning her father, a grandfather, a strong masculine image was somewhere around, or the man that she's with. He just extended her by taking her and melding and meshing his mind with her mind, and they becoming one and working together as a unit, still being separate yet working in alignment together as one. So both of those powers are brought together as one. See, people fight against that coming together as one. See, the woman wants that when she says that she wants a relationship. A woman says she wants a relationship, and she, by nature, a woman or a man wants to be in a relationship or in a connection with one another. But with a man, with today's man, it comes off as him getting in a relationship with a woman, and it comes off as him being codependent, right? He comes off as codependent on the woman, and the woman comes off as competitive with the man. So both powers are off. When they're able to work in unison with one another and get things accomplished, when patience is developed, patience, because the man teaches the woman patience. The man teaches the woman patience, especially if he is a mentally strong man. He teaches the woman patience, teaches her the ability to move along, and she gives the instruction of order and the instruction of motion, but in a more even tone. Because how you know how they say the men, sometimes men have those rough edges. Men tend to be rough. Men have those rough edges. Women smooth out the rough edges, but they don't take away, they don't soften them, they smooth them out. She represents the smoothed out version of his rough edges. She converted his power. She extended and added to her power. Because you got women who know how to talk to men because she had a strong teacher or a man near her. She knows how to speak to men without being sexual, without having to use sexuality, because that's the weakest thing. They teach you to be weak in the society and resort to sexuality. That's the weakest thing. The woman who knows how to use her mind and not her body as an object, that is the strong woman. The man knows how to use his mind over his physical attribute as a strong man. And so when those two line up, their power is tripled, quadrupled, and it extends even in their children. You'll find that their children are very focused and they develop healthy, right? Mentally, they have a equal balance and they understand roles and positions, right? The ability to recognize role and position and a powerful connection is key. That's the ability. Because, again, you can't tell people about the strength of a union if you don't tell them what the failures are in it. Because failure is being promoted, weakness is being promoted as normal and a logical path to go on. That's being promoted. Indecisiveness is being promoted as a strong path to move on. The time of indecisiveness is supposed to come to an end at a point in your life. And it's usually before you enter your 20s, right? That's usually before you enter your 20s. That comes to an end. You have that time in school to be indecisive. But even then, you're supposed to be getting yourself together and know what you want to become. You're supposed to be set on that. You accomplish things early in life, or you're working toward accomplishing things, right? You're working toward that. Your mind starts to expand on a certain timeline and a time frame. And if you do not recognize the time frame, then your mind does not expand in the time in which it's supposed to. It's a delay. And delays represent what? If you have a child who is mentally delayed, what do you call that child? You call that child retarded. You call that child retarded if they're mentally delayed. A lot of our people are mentally delayed. But when our people are on point, when they, going through things, knocking things out in their life, they're accomplishing things, they checking off things in their life, and they aligning themselves with things, that's when they are on track. That's when they're on track. Our people have to get mentally on track. See, there's always a track that we're supposed to be on, a track moving forward. There's no track for stagnation. There's no track for moving in circles. That's not real. The track straight forward is real. The linear movement straight forward is real. The women who are advancing and evolving mentally who are developing key mental powers are because they are on track. They are on track because they are in alignment to that extended self. They want to move in advanced or evolved stages. In other words, you'll say, I used to do this when I was in my teenage years. I don't do that no more. I did this in my 20s. I don't do that no more. I do this in my 30s. I don't do that no more. I do that. I did this in my 40s. I did this in my 50s. So you see, decade by decade by decade of your life is supposed to be an evolution in your life. That's for men and women. It's supposed to be a mental evolution in your life. A mental explosion every decade is supposed to be that. You see? But because our people are off on a mental timeline, you got it all off. Women trying to twerk and trying to act like acting like they teenagers in their damn 50s. You see, foolishness like that. This is all out of order. When the women develop mentally, when their intuitiveness develops, when their mental strength develops, that usually comes because they have children. Why do I say that? Why does that usually come as they have children? Because you have just carried and put out an extended version of yourself. So now an extended real version of yourself is in the world that carries a extended vision of you inside of a new entity. So an extended vision of you inside of a new entity has been laid forward. So that extends and picks up on your intuitiveness. Because a real live version of you is in the world. A real live version of you is in the world. See? And that version is better than you. I'm going to just say it like that. That version is supposed to be better than you. And it makes you better because you raised that version of you to be better than you. And it makes you better. It extends your mental power. Your mental power. It extends your focus when you are raising somebody who came from you, through you, and out of you to be better than you. Because now all your energy went into a extended version of you. Do I make myself clear? That all went into you. That went into the extension of you. Exactly. Developmental stages. Developmental stages. When you women carry children, that is the physical manifestation of you coming out that you're going to make better than you. That's why you carry children instinctively. This is why you carry them instinctively. This is why you get yourselves ready at a certain age, because you are starting to live decade by decade by decade, not year by year by year. Mental people live year by year. People who are mentally advanced, we live in tens. We live decade by decade by decade. You ever see like a woman with her baby, right? You might see her a year, and you might see a lady with a baby. Then it'd be like a year or two passing the child. It's been like 5 years passing the child. It's big and tall, and they more advanced. You could tell the child is more advanced and whatnot. And you see, damn, the child is tall and gain height. The way they talking and whatnot, they done develop their personality. That only can come from a woman who is powerful and a man who is mentally powerful. They're going to develop powerfully mental beings. Advanced mental beings. They're going to extend in themselves. Because a whole nother level of extension comes out of you when you become a parent. A whole nother level of intelligence comes out of you when you become a parent, when you start living decade by decade. A whole nother level of power comes out of you. A whole nother level of mental power comes out of you. Because the physical manifestation of you is here. The physical manifestation of you is here. And you know those who you may have laid down with the wrong people, you know the children are going to be disappointments. Let's be for real. You know the children are going to be disappointments. Not all of your children are going to be bright stars. Some of them are going to be disappointments. Because you laid down with the wrong people. You laid down with the wrong people. You were not in the right direction. You were being directionless yourself. and therefore you were being mentally weak. You were caught in emotion. See, these things must be pointed out in order for you to show the mental strength that we must climb to and climb out of the weakness. Because again, in this society, they're promoting weakness as strength. They're promoting black liberated femaleism as strength. Where do you think all these broken children come from? They come from black liberated females. That's where they come from. You got to speak on that. Black liberated females don't think they need a man. They don't think they don't, I'm my own God, I'm my own power. That's an illusion. That's not real power. I have to show you what fake power is, and then I have to show you what real power is. The ability to find and link with a powerful person such as yourself, and you extend each other's lives, and you build a life together. Children, everything. That's power. They talk about, like I said, the white man, he'll talk about, a woman who is a career woman who got her business going, is a career woman, and this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. They tell a black woman, in order for you to be a career woman, you can't be with the black man. You get you a white man, get you a Jewish man, in order for you to be a career woman, because the black man jealous, he ain't going to support you. No, the black male is jealous. You're right. The black male ain't going to support you. The weak-minded male ain't going to support you, but the strong man is going to support you. He is, because he's already doing something himself. I told you, you women see men, these females of today see men as competition, not as companions, as competition. That has to stop. That is weakness. That has to stop. At least within a chosen few, that has to stop. You see, iron sharpens iron don't mean we against each other. That means we make each other mentally stronger. You are building within your connection with that person, that man, that woman, through that powerful union, you are building a extended mental bond with that person, a fourth dimensional bond. That's what you're building, and it's going to come out in your children. It will come out in your children. Be mindful of that. We'll be right back. What we want to play. All right. I'm going to show y'all the difference between feminine energy and maternal instinct, and the power in feminine energy and maternal instinct, and where it really works. There used to be a teacher when I was in junior high school. Was a very attractive teacher. Her name was Miss Togans. Right, when I was in Catholic junior high school, me and my brother, she was very strong, very assertive, didn't take no mess. Beautiful woman, attractive, nice figure, and everything. Now she wore nice fitting clothes. You could see her figure. And we all junior high school boys and whatnot, you already know what's going on. We looking at her like, but we damn sure didn't give off that sexual energy like we was looking at her that, because she was a wife, she was a mother, and that translated into power. I didn't realize until then, and I thought about her now, that didn't translate into power until, it translated into power in her profession she chose as a teacher and in her everyday life. She had her stuff in order. Miss Togans, right? She was our history teacher, I believe. Had a very strong energy, strong presence, beautiful woman, very attractive, but didn't take no mess. I know we knew she was married, she had children, things like that, and I could tell, like I said, wherever she was functioning, she had a take no mess mentality and whatnot, and she didn't play those kind of games. You didn't feel like you could come at her or look at her as a sex object. You had nothing but respect for her as a woman, you see. And we just was like, I'm like, damn, that's power. And now that she basically bulldogged all of, was running out the bulldog around the school, had Sister Mary Jane, the white sister, all of them on a leash. She of the white teachers, and all of them, they didn't want to mess with her, with Miss Togan. They didn't want to mess with her. You see, they didn't want to mess with her, and it was this heavy-set white man named Mr. Coughlin, Like, he used to yell all the time and scream. And all these white teachers had to scream, and Miss Togan never had to raise her voice. She never had to raise, and we were some wild kids. We in the middle of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. You know, this is in the 80s, robbing and stealing, and, you know, niggas doing whatever they doing, you know. And the white teachers had to raise their voice and go through her. She didn't have to raise her voice at all, you know, because she didn't play. That was the energy that came from her, you know. I was like, damn, I like Miss Togan. I want a wife like Miss Togan. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that came off. She knew how to, in her place, she knew how to convert her energy into power. You see? And I know she had some sort of mental energy, mental power going on, because she could tell when certain thoughts was in your head. I ain't want to look at her in her face too long, because you could tell she knew it was in your damn head and whatever. She could look you straight in your eyes. So I ain't want, you know, look to her with caution and whatnot, because, you know. But that's just what it was. That's what the power of a woman looks like. Confidence. You see, confidence, directness, strength. Real men appreciate that. Real men appreciate that, and it comes across to your children when you're like that. See, men and children and the world, they know when you are a confused, mentally weak person. Children know first and foremost who's raising them. They know. They know if they got a weak parent, a mentally weak parent, who's the strong one, how to play them against each other. They already know how to do that. You see? And they know who they can't play with. They already know. Because you let it be shown in your presence that you don't play. You let it be shown in your, you know, in your continence, in your makeup, that you don't cater to all the emotional stuff. You're very practical and very logical, and that's how Miss Togans came off to us. You see? That's how she came off to us. So I look at her, along with my mother, of course, my mother first. But, you know, I look at her, I'm like, wow, as one of my teachers, I'm like, wow, you know, this woman, like I said, she just, like, she, you know, as a woman, she came off very strong in that pantheon of women I have. And, you know, what I know to be strong women, because they make impressions on everybody. Their energy comes off and makes impressions on everybody. You see, on everything. They are mentally strong. They are not confused. They know exactly what they want. You see, and what they don't want. They know that already. They figured it out early. And see, these are the women who accomplish things just like the men who accomplish things. Like I said, I figured out me in my life what I wanted early in my life, you see. And things are working out. I didn't think it was going to work out, you know, through what I'm doing now, but I knew what I was going to be and what I was not going to be. That's the strength of a man and a woman, because when you start to define yourself at an early age, your personality is what tells you when time is time. Your personality tells you who you are as a person. What you do in the first part, that defines who you are. That is the time frame in which you are supposed to move. That is the power in which you are ignited with. And your time frame is not like everybody else's. Your time frame ignites your future vision and your power of what you want to see happen, and you start to move toward that. Certain people are disconnected from that. Certain people will never have that. Certain people will always be lost to that fact, lost to that reality. That's what that is. Certain people are going to be lost to that fact, lost to that reality of who you are mentally, who you are growing into mentally, who you are meant to be mentally. That's why you will never find mental strength and mental power. You see, some are born with very strong personalities. Some need those personalities brought out. You always need strong people to bring out your personality. You don't want a weak person can't bring out a damn thing for you. You had potentially strong people who didn't get to become who they were based on who they aligned themselves with, what they didn't take seriously, how they didn't move as they were supposed to, because again, that slows down your mental power. That slows down your mental prowess. It slows you down. And the last thing you want to do is be slowed down mentally. And the last thing you ever want is for your children to be slowed down mentally. You want to introduce them to everything here. Let them know what it is, what we do, what we don't do. You start installing rules, ground rules, law, and as your part of power, order. When a woman is mentally in alignment with her higher self, with her mental power, she can manipulate anything the way she wants to. That's why they say that phrase, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. Why do you think they say that? The hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. That's why they say that. You see? This is why in the society, the white man, he has a lot of aggression. He has a lot of aggression toward his white woman. He won't say it, but a lot of times they have a lot of aggression toward their own white women because they feel like they women make them soft. You see? And they trying to find that aggressiveness in themselves again. The man, and you know, because the so-called black man, he has a natural aggression in himself, and the woman has to learn, and this is how she becomes powerful, to maneuver through that aggression and to work in alignment with that aggression and not against it. A good practitioner of order is one who knows how to convert power. A good practitioner of order is one who knows how to convert power. And you convert power by taking the law that is being laid down and utilizing the order in which you are converting it for yourself, your children, your people. That's what women are good at. The white woman, she took the law and the order that her white man laid down here. She took that and she lived off that. She set up organizations here. She set up these things here, movements here that would not have been possible without her man, because she understands the need powerful men to connect with powerful women and thus produce powerful society and thus produce powerful and extended women mentally, advanced women, advanced men. They understand that. This is why in your elite families, what I say in your elite families, don't these Caucasians hook up with each other and you got to be at this school, going to this school at Vassar, and you have to be from this family. Ain't that how they hook up? My son went to Harvard over here. That shows that he has some intelligence with him, according to them, some education, some intelligence. And my daughter went to Vassar over here, over to this finishing school, and she knows how, she's poised, and she knows how to do this, that, and the third. That's their way of getting their children ready for unions. That's their way of doing that. You see, black people ain't got nothing like that. You follow what I'm saying? That's their way of getting their children mentally ready. You see, something that we are supposed to teach our children, something that we're supposed to be developing in ourselves. And that's what we're going to develop in ourselves, because, again, a lot of the parents that raised us, they were not mentally equipped, right? Because they were taught to cater to weakness. They were taught to cater to mental weakness in society, right? Our mental capabilities extend so much greater, so much further when we are in that mind frame of power. All things extend, all right? So let me go ahead and read these questions. What happens when mentally powerful men and women connect? There's a synergy that sets off in both of them that extends them both mentally. You'll see when you're with somebody who is strong mentally, how your mental capabilities start to extend. Watch. When you have somebody who is mentally as strong as you or stronger, your mental capabilities will start to extend, right? Your telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance, intuition, these things will extend because that is iron sharpening iron. Steel sharpening steel. They extend when they connect. What is real power? What is a real powerful man? One who is has a direct vision, a direct focus, because direct vision and direct focus equals power, because that means precision. That means focus. That means you are focusing in on something to make a laser sharp hit to something or connection to something. What is a real powerful woman? One who knows how to dispatch order and control. The biggest thing she has to control is her emotions. And when a woman can control her emotions, her fears and all the things, her indecisiveness, when women can control that, that's when they become powerful. When all that stops, when they are able to shut all that off and focus, all that stops. Their power starts to become stronger. Can they produce powerful children? Of course they will. Of course they will. I have never seen weak children produced from powerful people. Even the ones who come off as a little weak, eventually they find their way later on. Even they get caught up, and usually they get caught up in all kind of nonsense that's outside of what they were raised in. But they don't stay with that for long. They always go forward or come back into alignment or forward into alignment with what they were raised with, what they know. Why is society pushing black men and black women as an individual power? Because they know that's an illusion, and they know that black women as individuals have no goddamn power whatsoever. That's just an illusion, just to break up black men and black women. And see, again, I speak on that because the illusions must stop and the reality must begin. And that's it. We're going to close out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. And Amen we trust, and Amen we think, and in Amen we continue forward forever. I am the intellectual NUBEN MENKARAYZZ. This has been Mentelly Radio. Good night.
Rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mentelly, black race to the white race. If it's hell, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that